300 marches across the country, which resulted in over 200,000 South Africans taking to the streets on the same day. And we must categorically state that South Africans are not violent. South Africans are not xenophobic, and their cry is that of the soul of South Africa, and it must be protected. These protests were free from any violence. This was not occasioned by the wasteful expenditure and the dramatization of the people's pain by their very own government. We must state over and over again that there was no destruction of property, not because South Africans are scared of government or they're incapable, but there was no violation of the rights of foreign nationals, and it was not because of the police, but it was because South Africans love their country. They respect its laws, and we subscribe to the spirit of Ubuntu, and all that we want is the enforcement of the country's laws. Our communities and 27 anti-illegal immigration civic organizations are the ones that worked tirelessly in a quest to root out the lawlessness and the effects of illegal immigration that had almost become a permanent mark in our country. Over 100,000 illegal immigrants have left our communities, and eventually they were repatriated back to their own countries. Many of these fellow brothers and sisters lived under inhumane conditions. They lived in informal settlements, and in these places, many of them contributed to the skyrocketing crime, while others were being used as modern-day slaves by those who own the means of production, which is a cruel system, and we are prepared to fight for and die for if needs be. So while we acknowledge that this is only the beginning, we note with appreciation some of the positive outcomes from what some label as xenophobia. And we state that it's a clear immigration crisis, and it's from our porous borders. Many children of illegal immigrants have left the country with their parents, paving a way for South African children to access basic education. At the end of last year, we were flooded with cries from concerned parents whose children had no place in school, leading us to demonstrate outside Addington Primary School. Thousands of immigrants who abused our healthcare facilities have also left the country, saving government millions in expenditure for medication, surgeries, clinics, and hospital admissions, and therefore many South African lives have been saved. Many South Africans, for the first time in a long time, actually managed to get access to healthcare that they deserve, therefore allowing our healthcare workers to work under a far more conducive environment that affords them an opportunity to give attention to South African patients. We've also seen a significant reduction in crime, particularly in areas such as the Durban Central District, because they've issued out the statistics already, where it was stated that the crime has reduced by over 28%, a confirmation that irregular migration has a serious impact on crime. These results come from the cleanups that we also have had in the Durban CBD, which have contributed immensely to more police visibility, less illegal businesses operating, and safer and cleaner spaces. This period has also been a period of resistance and fight back by direct beneficiaries of crime. We have seen the Somalis, the Pakistanis, Ethiopians, Nigerians, which is some of the countries who have given our communities a very difficult time, and they're refusing to leave. While many continue to conduct illegal activities, disguising them as businesses, they have now taken it a step further and decided to pay our South Africans, the protection fee mafias, businesses, to kill fellow South Africans who are fighting for the liberation of this country from illegal immigration and from the bondages of crime that have killed our brothers Andile Mbuyelwa Somqaka and Tato Senganga Molosangwe. And now they've added to their list of lives taken Douglas Mfene Tusi. May their souls rest in peace. Today we'd like to say to their families, their deaths have not been in vain. their spirits will speak, their children will not suffer while we keep quiet and fold our arms. We have nothing to lose anymore because losing our country is definitely not an option. Today we stand in so much pain, so many unanswered questions, and with renewed vigor, and understanding that our problems are far from being over. Therefore, we have no choice, but we must continue the fight. Over the past 3 months, our leaders have been killed, beaten up. Foreign nationals have continued to rape and kill women, children. Children have continued to die from eating food from their spaza shops. And today, while we join hands in prayer, we'd like to also pray for our sister, Unomthandazo Mbele, the sister of Pastor Mjosti, who's currently fighting for her life in hospital, having been stabbed over 40 times by Fulgulence Nimubone, a soldier who left his country and walked into our borders to start a new life of pretending to be a pastor while being a well-trained militant in Congo. Only God knows how many more crimes he's committed and how exactly was he getting by in this country, as many of them do. Yet we have seen absolutely no empathy from the Minister of Police for all of these crimes. While we work hard to convince society to remain calm, we also keep being provoked by politicians, provoked by unscrupulous business people, as well as NPOs and NGOs. We have seen skyrocketing useless press briefings aimed at launching an onslaught against the movement and giving us a new label every day. A very myopic tendency we have ignored for far too long, and today we will respond to it. Mr. Fikile Mbalula, through the figment of his imagination, has come out guns blazing, suggesting that we are a political project yet to be properly unveiled. And on some days he claims we are a project of the IFP, some days of the MK, some days of Israel, depending on what mood he's in or what substance. Not one of the boss's press briefings seeks to acknowledge the damage and pain that they have caused to the many families from their negligence of our borders. How many more families have been destroyed because of the drugs and corrupt activities, as we have heard at the Madanga Commission? When does he apologize to the parents whose children have died because of spaza shop killings or the spaza shop mafias? Or are those families also political parties or political projects? In his last episode of his live recorded broadcast in the media, Mr. Mbalula illogically stated that the movement was not happy that other members had met with the president. Yet we had already addressed this issue in our statement, where we stated that everyone has a right to meet with anyone, including the president. Our focus has always been in protection of the citizens of this country and not on getting photo ops. In his vent, he made noise about their leaders being booed at our marches, and he said nothing about the reasons why their members of the public decided to boo them. Surely this should have been an opportunity for him to reflect on why people were booing certain leaders while celebrating others. That is not boos that are funded, but they are an expression of deep pain and dissatisfaction. So rather than looking for excuses or someone to blame, maybe it's an opportunity for him to do some self-introspection. South Africans have been crying out for help, longing for a minister who cares about the people of this country. A minister who understands that our people continue to be ravaged by drugs and crimes committed by foreign nationals. And this Minister of Police that we have does not ever, not once, meet with black communities to listen to our cries. He does not see a need to come to our townships and listen to what the people have to say. On the other side, yet the minister has continuously engaged with foreign nationals, particularly those from Pakistan and Somalia, and interestingly has left out those from Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Congo. For many years, South Africans have accepted that they are second-class citizens in their own country. But today we confirm that they have decided to stand up for themselves, and they want to be treated the same way that minority groups are treated in the country. We have also noted with grave concern contents of a circular issued by the South African Police Service, which is dated the 20th of July 2026, under the hand of MJ Mamoteti, who is the Divisional Commissioner and Operations directing the member of all SAPS to refrain from participating in any action arranged by civilians to identify, threaten, and remove all foreigners, as they claim, from their homes or businesses, or threatened to charge the police officers. He or she further directed that community leaders and private individuals who complained about suspected undocumented persons must be referred to the Department of Home Affairs, or BMA. It is our respectful view that this seeks to diminish and or undermine that being in the country without proper documents and or illegally is a crime, and therefore this circular invites the police not to act even when crime is committed right in front of them. And at first, the same police said that citizens are not allowed to do anything that has to do with foreign nationals. Now they're saying that the police also don't have to do anything that has to do with undocumented foreign nationals. So who exactly is supposed to do something? It has become clear that our police have been underfunded. The police do not have enough vans. They do not have enough holding cells, nor do they have enough guns. Do they have enough food? Do they have enough staff? And even enough food to feed the illegal immigrants when they are apprehended. These challenges make it difficult for the hard men and women working in blue who are actually doing their job to protect South African citizens. And as a result, many illegal immigrants who commit crime in our society or are found to be illegal in the country are released back to the unsuspecting public that continue to suffer at the hand of these criminals. So we call upon government to take a bold decision and increase the budget which is allocated to the police. We call upon government to ensure that there is an urgent realignment between the police, Home Affairs, and BMA in order to address the current challenges. And if it requires for the amendment of laws, then it needs to be done so urgently. So while we talk about the amendment of our laws, we call upon government to either put up a proper border wall or properly fence our border as a matter of urgency. It's not just about illegal people coming into the country, but also the illegal goods who possess far more danger to our lives than we can ever imagine. Otherwise, we will remain in the streets until we no longer feel unsafe in our own country. Some of the positive is also gradually we are seeing large numbers of foreign nationals leaving our rural areas and townships, opening spaces for our people to run and control the township economy, which had been taken away from them. We have been working tirelessly behind closed doors, engaging with banks, businesses, business chambers, governments, traditional leaders, religious sector, and communities to ensure that we re-establish a viable economy owned by Black and marginalized people in our country. In the next 2 months, we will announce a massive partnership led by communities aimed at creating a voice for the voiceless in South Africa who want to run successful businesses. We have had successful engagements which are currently ongoing with role players within the delivery industry. The industry offers opportunities to about 10,000 young people who are currently looking for jobs in that sector. And we are working with all role players in a quest to ensure that this industry is reserved only for South Africans, because I can assure you there are no jobs that South Africans do not want to do. The movement is also not born out of hate or seeking a political spot in government, but it is a machinery in the hands of South Africans which should be utilized forever. The movement has done a careful study of the problems facing the South African people, Black people in particular. The question has always been who speaks for South Africans And the answer is, other than politicians who have been placed in parliament, absolutely nobody. South Africans live in an unsecured country with no borders, and apart from marching and voting, they have no one to look up to help. Black people die at the corridors of hospitals without medical attention. Their pain goes unnoticed. Their children are deprived of their right to study robotics in rural areas and townships. A right not provided because the budget goes to people flocking into a country unknown. The police remain extremely underfunded, yet the citizens have nowhere to go to complain. Today, we announce the movement's bold decision to establish a forum for all South Africans and blacks in particular. This forum will provide justice to the voiceless South Africans who, for many years, justice had remained a distant cousin. We have established a non-profit entity which shall trade under the name of SA First Forum. This organization will be the vanguard of South African citizens. It will, as and when necessary, litigate against the state on behalf of predominantly black people, owners of the economy and private individuals. The objective of the forum is to create a justice and legal buffer. South Africans who cannot vindicate their legal rights, the first case to be dealt with by this forum shall be in relation to the circular which has been issued by the South African Police Service, which we deem to be unconstitutional. The people of our country continue to suffer untold pain as a result of drugs sold to the youth, and at the pace at which the country is going, this means we will have no men in the near future. Either they will be high on drugs or illicit alcohol. Young children continue to be trafficked daily and sold as sexual slaves across the country and across the world. Communities still live in squalor with no basic services, sometimes with no shelter over their heads. And the movement has once again decided to establish a foundation tasked with the responsibility to fight social ills in our communities, run programs to take young people from the streets, help them to survive and come out of drug addiction, and integrate them back into our communities, and help young women claim their lives from prostitution in a claim to relive a meaningful life. The movement will also use this foundation to engage with all the like-minded South Africans to fund the education of a black child, build a safe net for the future of our country. The foundation shall trade under the name and style M&M Foundation, and this entity has been registered as a non-profit organization. The movement shall engage in the process of establishing boards for these entities and appoint acting chief executive officers in the next coming weeks. We wish to record that our efforts have not been in vain. The submission by the good South Africans are slowly yielding positive results, with the white paper already moving in Parliament, and this will pave a way for the introduction of the first safe country principle, which to our joy and excitement means that there will be no Ethiopians, Somalians, Nigerians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis running to South Africa claiming they're running away from persecution and they are refugees. We can't wait for that one. We also want to thank the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, Mr. Tommy Makode, who has been very, very helpful when it comes to issues that we raise that have to deal with the issue of illegal immigration. And not only him, but his team for working tirelessly to save South Africans from the vultures and the little resources that they have, because we know as well the Department of Home Affairs is highly underfunded, much like everything else in this country, which makes you wonder, where does the money in this country actually go to? And we also want to thank Mr. Njabulungu Nzuza, the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, for standing with the people during this time. We've seen him on the ground, we've seen him going out and making sure that there's operations in different places. And this is the kind of leadership that we deserve. And the less we say about the Minister of Home Affairs, who never makes an appearance anywhere, the better. Safe to conclude that the minister does not associate himself with the people of the country or their problems, a reality that we must never forget. We want to thank South Africans for their resilience, commitment, and dedication. This war we must fight united, even during the most difficult of times. We must mobilize each and every South African to take to the streets until our demands are met. We must fight until all illegal immigrants have left our country, particularly those who are stubborn and are in the pockets of politicians. And remember, we did say that we give the government 3 months for phase 2 and another 3 months for phase 3. So currently we are in phase 2 and the 3 months ends in September. We will be engaging with progressive security companies to join hands with us in protecting our communities and fighting against the protection fee mafias. We further call on our SAPS to investigate all the security companies involved in these heinous acts, including Syria. We thank all those that have supported us in the business and religious sector. And we also ask that the laws of this country apply to every single person of every single race, every single religion, and of every single class. Lastly, we thank the citizens and movements that have worked with us for the 30th of June protest, and to those that continue to work with us to ensure that our Thursday marches, pickets, and operations continue to be a success and will continue to happen all across the country. We are grateful to the legal people of Zimbabwe who came out to support a protest that was actually meant to be in solidarity with the people of Zimbabwe at the Zimbabwe embassy. But it looks like we can no longer create a place of comfort for Zimbabweans, since many of them decided not to protest in Zimbabwe. That means that our efforts had been in vain, and the likes of Jacinta Ngobese had been incarcerated for no reason. We call on the Zimbabwean government to be responsible and take care of its own people so that they no longer have to rush to South Africa for better opportunities or because of fear of their own government. And once again, we call for the Zimbabwean government to free Jacinta Ngobese. But from what we're hearing, they have actually released him on bail of $200 for simply staging a protest. And lastly, we would like to call on all the governments and the presidents that are currently in South Africa for the SADC. We have been barred from protesting because of the SADC, but our message must still go to them that while they are here in South Africa and while they are here in Durban especially, they must make sure that when they leave, they have come together and made a decision on how they're going to take care of their people and live with them. Unlike the president of Malawi, who came to South Africa while his people were in thousands at the drive-in, and he decided that he must just go back home without even so much as lifting a finger to show concern for his own people. That doesn't speak of a caring government. And the same care and love that they want us to have is the same care that we must see from them that they have for their own people. So instead of crying about xenophobia, the conversation needs to change now to being about African leaders and why are they continuously being dictators and mistreating their own people. If we were able to fight oppression back in the days and free ourselves from the oppression of white people, why then are African people so afraid of fighting oppression from their own black leaders? So we call upon all of them to spend more time talking about the problems in their country, fixing the problems of their country, and less time talking about South Africa and what South Africans do in their own country, which is something we've also seen on the ground, because people have lost faith in political parties. But somehow people still feel bound to political parties. So they believe that if March and March becomes a political party, then they will be better represented.